Um, my definition of my identity. Ah, okay. I guess I feel like I'm English, like I'm from London. I guess when it refers to a certain place, because that's where I grew up. My father's from Libya, my mother's from South Africa. Her ancestors are from Java. I find more kind of identity with Islam more than anything. If I'm in Egypt, people think I'm Egyptian. If I'm in Yemen, people think I'm Yemeni. So that's where I find my identity in my faith. I think in terms of, but I feel like I'm English. Basically, I feel like I'm from London. Now, in terms of Africanness, I've always felt that I've had a claim to Africa because of my parents from North and South. But I've never felt that I could really claim it until I lived here for a while, and then I realized that it actually claims me. You know, the place claims me. So I guess I feel like that anyone who spends time, and whether it's blood and sweat for the right or wrong reasons, that Africa claims you. Like India would claim you. You know, I traveled to Pakistan, right in the north, near the foot of the Himalayas, and there was a German man there who was living there. But you look at his face and he's Pakistani. Because it's claimed him, and he's become those mountains, and he's become that. So I think, I think that.
Thank you. Une autre coupure pour qu'on aille voir sur internet ce que pensent les spectateurs de l'émission et qu'ils partagent avec nous leurs expériences par rapport à l'africanité. Comme troisième invité, nous avons Chris Wessels. Est-ce que je prononce bien?
Yeah, Wessels.
Ok, thank you. Donc, Chris est sud-africain, il vient de Cape Town, il travaille entre la Finlande et l'Afrique du Sud. Il vient d'avoir un enfant d'ailleurs qui est à moitié finlandais, à moitié sud-africain. Et il a fait partie, quand il était étudiant, de ces mouvements de lutte contre l'apartheid. J'aimerais beaucoup que Chris nous donne sa définition aussi de l'africanité. Chris, what is Africanness for you?
Africanness for me, or my African identity. The thing is that I think Africanness is diverse as how many people live in Africa. I've never really, I've always been African. That's all I've known. It's only become more apparent to me once I've left Africa, that actually I'm African. And normally when you're out there, people refer to Africa as this homogeneous block of people. But there's actually as different Africans or Africannesses as there are people in Africa. And I think that is what makes Africa so interesting, is its diversity. But obviously nowadays, things aren't, as people don't respect each other's differences. But for me, Africanness is, you have as many Africannesses as there are Africans.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I learned that when I was in Europe.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Une autre coupure pour qu'on aille voir sur internet ce que pensent les spectateurs de l'émission et qu'ils partagent avec nous leurs expériences par rapport à l'africanité. Comme dernière invitée, nous avons Katharina Edren. Katharina Edren qui est suédoise d'origine éthiopienne, qui vit en Afrique du Sud, qui est mariée à un Nigérian, qui est aussi originaire des Barbades et qui a un enfant de 2 ans qui parle, si je ne m'abuse, l'anglais, le suédois, le tswana et un peu de français. Donc j'aimerais beaucoup que Katharina, qui parle français, anglais, suédois, puisse s'exprimer dans la langue qui lui convient le mieux. Et Katharina, est-ce que vous pouvez nous donner votre définition de l'africanité?
Je pense que je suis toujours en train de la définir. Je pense contrairement à ce qu'il dit Eugene, j'essaie de ne pas lutter. J'ai grandi en Suède, donc j'ai l'expérience d'avoir toujours à m'expliquer, toujours à me justifier pourquoi tu t'appelles suédoise, qu'est-ce que tu fais ici, tu n'es pas vraiment d'ici. J'ai toujours eu à m'expliquer. Donc à cet âge maintenant, et quand j'ai finalement trouvé mon chemin, que je vis en Afrique, que je suis africaine, n'importe quoi. Je suis africaine, je n'ai pas à me justifier, je n'ai pas envie de lutter. Ce que je fais aujourd'hui, c'est ce que je fais demain, dans 2 semaines, même si c'est complètement différent. Comme moi, je suis d'origine africaine, ça va être africaine. Ce n'est pas une lutte et ce n'est pas quelque chose que je demande qu'on m'accepte comme africain. Je suis africain, je me définis chaque jour comme africaine. So I'm trying not to make it a struggle. I'm African, and I define myself what that means. Since I am of African origin, I myself, like whatever I do, it will be African. You know? And having grown up in Sweden all my life, I had to explain that yes, I am Swedish, yes, I am European. You know, yes, I can claim this as much as you can. And I feel at this age and at this stage in my life, I'm not doing that anymore. I didn't move back to Africa to start again defending and struggling. So it's I decide and I feel African.
En fait, ce qui est très intéressant, c'est que finalement, donc chacun ici évidemment a défini un peu à sa manière ce qui le rend africain. Maybe I should say it in English. So everybody has sort of defined what makes him African here. But what is really interesting is that what I see with everybody here is that the projects each one is involved in are actually linked with the kind of transformation project each one has. So it means that it doesn't matter if it's in your work, in your life, in your travel, you sort of not leave it where you got it from. It's like now you're trying to create something by yourself. And this project is also almost like a kind of metamorphosis project, where if I take, for example, your case, Eugene, you know, where you became almost a veteran at a very young age, which means that your life is finished somehow. When, you know, at a young age, they say you're a veteran, it's like you are from the past. In French, they say ancien combattant, which is actually make you even older. So it's like, where do you start back, you know, with your life, you know, in a way? So you have a system before, you know, that sort of put you in a box, and after that put you in another box. And then you go through that process, for example, of transformation.
Yeah, I mean, I think you die. I think in one life, one has many lives, and you transform and transcend through all those moments. So I think, yes, there was a part of my life where I was a combatant, activist, involved in the national liberation struggle, and that form passes on. That part of my life came to an end, mercifully, because then it means out of that, new things can be born. So I think also that we break the boxes. We decide, we choose. We can stay inside those frames, and we can stay inside those lives, those identities, those choices we made, or we can keep growing, keep transcending. So for me, that's, just to answer your question, yes, of course, transcendence, transformation, questioning, interrogation, that's very important, because those are the engines. If you question yourself, you question the space around you, you keep transforming. So,
but it's a lot of work. When you think about the system you fought for also end up putting you in another box, so also limiting you somehow.
Yes, but in another way, I mean, I get what you're saying as well. There's a danger in when you're dialoguing, when you begin to dialogue too intensely with the system.